Hey everyone, it's the Angry Honey Badger, and it's time to take a look at another champion build video. Today I am playing as Shen, playing him in the jungle. I like to jungle him because he is actually a really strong ganker, and being able to be all over the map basically all the time, and then having your ultimate to be able to teleport all over the map as well is kind of nice when you are playing the jungle. That way you don't really abandon top lane. Although I will say Shen is a good top laner. I do like to play him up there as well, but this game I happen to get him in the jungle. So the build for for both of those areas is pretty much the same for me. I usually start at blue buff when I'm jungling him because I actually like the cooldown reduction. Now, if you don't want to start at blue, you can obviously start at red buff and then go for a level 2 gank at top lane. That works just as well too. But if you're going to do that, obviously we got to take his abilities in a different order. Now, as for what I do when I start the game with Shen, if I'm going top lane, I'll usually start with boots and pots. You can also start with boots and pots in the jungle too, that will work, or you can do classic armor and pots. Or if you have full rune pages like I do, I actually start with a ruby crystal and no pots, because you can't have any because you don't have enough gold. But ruby crystal is enough, and that actually is going to help you heal yourself up and deal extra damage with your passive, which basically every 9 seconds you just deal more damage. That's going to be the simplest way for me to sum that up without getting into percentages and numbers. But your passive is basically going to allow you to do that extra damage, which is going to come into effect when fighting enemy champions and when jungling. This game, I don't get off like any good ganks, I don't think, out of the jungle. So pretty much just farm up that way and all of that. At level 1, I do take his Vorpal Blade, which is his Q ability. It does heal him, and that is why you're able to start with the Ruby Crystal. And Shen doesn't really have any problems in the jungle, and you don't have to worry about that too much. He is a fantastic tank. This build is going to focus on being a really good tank, and halfway through the build, you can either decide if you're going to go full-on tank, or if you're going to actually go with kind of a really tanky but still bruiser setup. And that's kind of the way I lean this game, because I start to do plenty of damage early, and I get accused of KSing all the time, which is kind of stupid because Shen does damage, and a lot of people don't realize that. Regardless of what way you build him, whether or not you build him AP or this tanky AD style, he will deal damage just because of that passive and just kind of the way he's set up. He just does damage. So, something to be careful for. There, I got my blue buff stolen. It was kind of funny. New just walked up, bit it, basically, and ran off. But just going to keep farming up. The first time I did go back to base, I did pick up a Heart of Gold. This is going to actually help me get that passive gold per 5. And then I got my boots as well after I made that first trip around here. I'm going to show up. I flash forward and taunt the Teemo so we can try to get a kill on him. I'm going to kill him by just having my red buff. There I try to get out of Nuna's ultimate, but no dice there. I'm going to try to get away from this fight, but it's going to be no good. I get hit by that Teemo shroom, and that's basically going to get me killed after Fiora ults on me. And then, apparently, if I'm ulting one of my teammates, it takes her over to them as well. So, didn't know that that was going to do that. Unfortunately, it's going to get TF killed now as well, but picked up a kill there early. That was kind of an unfortunate fight for us to get into. Their Fiora is getting decently farmed bottom lane. And this game is really odd. There's a Shen on their team, there's a Shen on our team, there's a Fiora on our team, there's a Fiora on their team, and then I think that is it for the copies. But, yeah, kind of interesting. Few copies on our team. So, we'll get to see how that works out later on. As for the rest of the build and where I'm going with this, like I said, I have that Heart of Gold to give me passive gold, and I can either keep that item for a while and get that passive gold, or I can build it into one item later if I'm going to be going tanky, or I can sell it late game for more damage items. That last time I did go back, I did pick up some magic resist and some armor, getting more tanky that way, and that armor is going to help me in the jungle. Not going to really be able to do anything up here in top lane right now. Teemo's pushing a little bit and shrooming really well, which is good. But I'm just going to keep moving forward and keep jungling best I can. At level 1, like I said, I do take his Vorpal Blade. At level 2, I typically take his Shield, which is his W, and then I usually take his Shadow Dance around 3 or 4, depending on when I'm going to be going out and ganking from the jungle. So there's that to deal with. And then obviously at level 6, I do take his Ultimate. I usually, typically, max out his abilities with his Q ability first, his W second, and his Dash last. And then obviously I'll take his ult at 6, 11, and 16. Here I ult in on Fiora. She ran into a mushroom and she was going to probably die in that fight. I came in and picked up that kill. She's going to call that a KS. I don't really care. KS to me just means kill secure. So we secured the kill. Anyways, we got Nunu trying to come back up here. Obviously he's keeping this warded. I'm going to get my team to come over here. I'm going to finish this off real quick just so they can't come take it. And I got that kill bottom. This game goes really interestingly weird early on, and no one is really paying attention in this game, and we have a really bad time at grouping up. So I kind of take matters into my own hands by building the more aggressive attack tank Shen. So I am going to start getting a little bit of kills while I am still tanking a lot of fights. So there is going to be a lot of weird nonsense this game. A lot of weird running back and forth. Here I get in a weird fight and there's Shen ports in. I'm just going to flash that wall and then dash through our wall just to give myself some distance. I'm going to go back to base now. I am going to be finishing off a few items here. I did finish off my boots. I almost always will get Merc Treads with Shen because of the tenacity and the magic resist. Here I need to ult in on Teemo. Barely saved his life from the Nunu. I think he had like seriously 1 health point. There, our Twisted Fate does oddly get a kill. Our Twisted Fate was really bad this game, and it just kind of adds to the disorganization of the team during this game. Like I said, it was kind of a struggle. We could never stick together or push a certain lane. We could never get anybody to pay attention. So read the chat. It's probably going to be kind of funny because I'm guessing there's lots of yelling. Anyways, continuing on with the build, that last time I was back as well, I did pick up a Giant's Belt. That's going to help go towards one of my first tankier items. I'm trying to build towards a Sunfire Cape as one of my first main items. It's going to help me with plenty of different things. It's going to help me contribute damage as the tank, having that passive fire damage, if you want to call it that, with that magic damage from the fire. There I do shut down Fiora, taunted her under the tower, took some damage that way, and was able to pick up a kill on her. Needed to shut her down. She was having a really good start against our team. That's why our bottom is already taken. Here I'm just trying to fend off best I can against the enemy team. And yeah. Oh, and yeah, their team added Teemo. Our team added Teemo. Forgot to mention that, yeah. 3 copies. Kind of a interesting game. But anyways, so like I said, I'm going to try to be building that item. First, it's going to give me health, armor, and that passive damage, which is going to help me whether or not I go tank, full tank, or kind of the passive tank, off-tank bruiser. So, going to be doing that, and going to be continuing the build in that direction for now. Going to keep farming up as I go through here and getting all of the jungle that I can to increase all of that. Like I said earlier, Shen doesn't really have a problem jungling because of his ability to get life back from his Vorpal Blade when he attacks it, or if you do finish off an enemy of any kind with your Vorpal Blade, you do get 33% of that heal, I believe. So, gonna keep doing that, keep working my way through the jungle. Last time I was back, I did finish off that Sunfire Cape and picked up some magic resist, which is gonna go towards my next item. Here I'm gonna try to move out as fast as I can. You can taunt Malzahar out of his ultimate because your taunt is gonna obviously do that and cancel ultimates. You can use it on Nunu too while he's in his ultimate, so luckily I have that. Here I am chasing the Teemo and chucking everything at him best I can and doing the damage that we can. Gonna pick up an assist on him and on that Malzahar, doing my job as the tank. Almost always, as long as they don't have a full team, or at least super, super powerful people on their team, Shen is going to be able to live through lots of fights. I think up here now comes an interesting point where I keep taunting people on their team, but our Ezreal does not like start fighting them or like can't get into a fight with them. I'm going to be able to keep doing this over and over because of just the amount of life I have and armor and magic resist and just kind of the way Shen is and having his shield. I can take damage for a long period of time. I think he starts to yell at me, which is kind of funny about KSing and not fighting. There's another kill I get. Here I ult over onto a Twisted Fate because I thought he was going to get murdered, which he probably will anyways. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. I keep landing all this stuff, but he like kind of refuses to fight, which is weird. So, but gonna keep going on with more things in the build. For the rune page that I do typically take for him, whether or not I'm going top lane or jungle, I usually go with attack damage marks, armor seals, magic resist glyphs, attack damage quintessences, or health quintessences. Both are good. If you're going for more damage, obviously you can take those attack damage quintessences. It's going to help you move through the jungle a little bit faster, or just deal a little extra damage in top lane if you need to do that. If not, you can go with the health quints. It's going to obviously help you with your passive, dealing more damage, and early on, more health is never a bad thing, and late game it'll obviously stack better there too. So there is that to consider. It's pretty standard rune page setup, and if you wanted to go with even more kind of tank or rune setup, you could, instead of getting attack damage marks, you could go with magic resist marks instead. So there is that you can also deal with. Now, as for the masteries page that I typically take, whether or not I'm doing jungle Shen or top Shen, I go with a 0 and 21-9 setup. The 21 in that defensive tree is going to really help me. In the jungle, resisting all the minion damage, and then obviously in tank fights going to help me as well. Here, Twisted Fate's getting murdered, so I'm going to try to get in the way. I'm going to taunt this Teemo. We need to get rid of him. He's going to deal the most damage out of these three. And now it's time to start focusing best I can. I do kill the Nunu there, just killing him with standard attacks and from Sunfire Cape. Sunfire Cape, oddly enough, will pick up kills occasionally, and Ezreal calls out another KS, so I tell him to deal more damage if he wants to get kills. I know he's the AD carry, but if they can't finish off enemies, you need to finish them off, because I don't care how often they need to carry your team. If they can't finish off killing someone, you need to kill them, or else they're going to turn around and kill you. Too many times have I seen teams where kids were trying to give somebody a kill occasionally, and that person kind of turns around, uses an ability they weren't expecting, and could murder both of them. So, kind of have to look out for that. And like I said, I'm going to go for more of this damage Shen instead of full tank Shen. Alright, so at this point, I went back to base. I did just finish off a Force of Nature, and that's going to definitely help me with movement speed, which is going to help me get into position to get off my Shadow Dash a little bit better to get that taunt onto the enemy. It's going to obviously give me lots of magic resist and health regeneration. So that's going to be my next tanky item. Now, at this point in the build with that Heart of Gold, the boots, the Sunfire Cape, and that Force of Nature, that is kind of what I would call your core build to then decide which direction you want to go with your build. Here I'm going to come in and teleport in on mid because we're getting to a fight. I'm going to taunt this Teemo again because he's dealing massive damage. We need to get rid of him. Our Teemo kills him off after I taunt him. And then I'm going to keep moving forward in this fight, attacking Shen and slowing him best I can. Well, I can't slow him right now, actually. Never mind. Anyway, so I pick up another assist on him. I see Nunu pop his head out, but no dice there. We're going to go ahead and push down this mid turret and continue on with the match. But like I was saying, those first items are kind of your core Shen build. After this point, you can decide whether or not you want to go with more tanky damage or just more tank. And I'm going to go tanky damage. So I'm going to start building differently. And I'll go over both just so we know which ones you can do. I think full-on tank Shen is a beast. He is ridiculously hard to kill. He still does some damage, but he's so hard to kill. He's impossible to kill almost. Shen is an awesome tank. But I'm going to go damage-wise. Now, at this point, I built a Phage, which I am going to be building towards a Frozen Mallet. The Frozen Mallet's going to help me continue to keep slows on champions on the enemy team, which is going to allow my team to not only keep up in a fight, but me to keep up in a fight and keep dealing the damage. They're never going to really get out of range of my Sunfire Cape if I'm attacking them, so they're going to take damage that way. They're going to be slowed. It's going to be hell for them, basically. If I wasn't building this Phage right now, I would typically be building a little more health. I'd probably be building a Warmogs at this point, just to get more health. Because right now, I got a good amount of armor and magic resist. Don't really need to worry about that currently at this point in the game. I'm doing pretty well in that department, and with all this health I already have from the Force of Nature and the Heart of Gold, that's going to be good too. Here I get into a little fight up top. Their Shen's going to ult in. We're going to run into mushrooms and get into a little weird fiasco fight. We do pick up a kill. They pick up a kill. I think we keep chasing too for a little bit. But usually what is going on between these two items that I'm choosing to get is with the Frozen Mallet, what that's going to do is not only give me more health to stay tanky, because I'm still going tanky, but I'm going to be able to put out some damage with this side. I can go tanky this way and do some extra damage and have that slow. If not, going with the Warmogs is obviously just going to give you even more health and just help you, with the massive regeneration, which teamed up with the Force of Nature is going to be even better, which makes you an even better tank. Late game with a full tanky build for Shen, you have so much just health regeneration. It's almost disgusting. You just run into anywhere and you just always popping the heals off of you. You can see how fast you're regenerating all of your health. Now, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit in this game in a second. We're just going to fade forward. This is a really long match deal to us not ever really paying attention. Here I do get into a nice little fun fight. I'm trying to get my team to come over here because this has been happening. I'm going to wait a second. I'm going to see that this team is going to come over here. Once again, I'm going to try to taunt towards him. Fiora moves in. She's getting fed now on our team. Taunt doesn't land on anyone. I'm going to move back in. I'm going to use my ultimate on her while she is going to start taking all this damage. Luckily, she's got lots of lifesteal, so she's staying in the fight that way. My shield digits come in there to protect her, so she's getting tons of kills because she's doing a pretty full damage Fiora build right now. And time to start skipping forward a little bit. Now, as you can see in the builds, I know things have gone by rather quick, but this is more of the damage. I did finish off that Frozen Mallet. That's going to help me, like I said, slow them and get that extra life. which is going to reflect my next item that I would typically get. If I wasn't going attack damage Shen, I would have finished off that Heart of Gold into an Omen. But since I am going that, I sold the Heart of Gold and picked up an Atma's, which is going to increase my attack damage and give me more armor and some crit chance. And as for the next item that I did plan on getting, I was going to go with more magic resist and attack speed with a Wit's End, or you could go with a Maw of Malmortius. But because of kind of the style of damage I'm taking from their team being its situational damage, I'm going to actually start building towards a Thornmail and go a little bit more tanky again. So I'm kind of in between that full tank, half tank build for Shen. Now, if I didn't need to get this, and I was going and doing fine by having the Omen, if I was going super tanky, I would usually pick up a Banshee's Veil at the end. So there's kind of a few different ways, like I said, you can do this build. It's just really, really situational. Currently, I'm 6'2 and 24. You're going to get lots and lots of assists with Shen because of just the way he is set up. Obviously, I am helping pick up some kills too because of early game and just kind of the more damage I'm doing now. At this point, though, if you look at the build, the Atma's, Merc Treads, Sunfire, Force of Nature, and the Frozen Mallet is kind of the 5 items. And then as for that 6th item that I would typically pick up if I didn't need to pick up more armor, but this game I did because of their enemy Fiora and just other damage on their team. Fiora is basically just going to kill herself on me. She's murdering the whole team here. I'm going to be able to resist that a lot better and tank this even better, although a lot of this is magic damage coming in right now. I'm just going to back off a little bit here and use my dash to get away. I get down pretty low, but I can step back for a second and regen this health actually pretty quick while my team regroups as well. We have mushrooms everywhere, so I'm okay standing here for a second. But like I was saying, if I didn't need to get that Thornmail and I wanted to still go with the more attack damagey Shen, what I could do, like I said, was a Wit's End or a Maw of Malmortius. That's going to help me in the damage department on both sides and are going to help me with some extra magic resist. Now, like I was saying, if you were looking for the full tank Shen build, obviously you get the Merc Treads, you get the Sunfire, you get the Force of Nature, and then instead of the Frozen Mallet, you go with the Warmog's Armor, then finish off your Heart of Gold into that Omen, which is going to help you have that that unique passive too. There you can see I killed Fiora quite quickly because I did have a little help, but she basically killed herself on my Thornmail, which is a big help. And then they're going to surrender here too, but then I would finish off the build with a Banshee's Veil, typically to end it all out for the full tank Shen build. If you have any questions, guys, put those in the comments below. I'll put both of the guides in the description, but other than that, I'll just see all of you in the next build video.